Hey there, this is Frozen Joe. I'm doing another review today, and this review is of Violette de Bordeaux. The figs, I guess there's some confusion whether it's the same as Negron or Petite Negri or Petite Negra, whatever they are, if these figs are all the same or different, but this variety here was given to me under the name is Violette de Bordeaux, so I'm assuming that's the one that it is, and it's a beautiful tree. It's quite large. It's got to be about 8 or 9 feet tall. Gonna have to prune it back pretty good this winter, and maybe even 10 feet. It's pretty big. It's a nice tree. It's beautiful, beautiful foliage. Violette de Bordeaux. You know, I see a lot of variation on the foliage on this one. I'd say like this or like this. These are pretty typical. This sort of thing. Pretty typical leaf shape. Get this. You get some with these really long, skinny fingers on them. Let's see if I can find any. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find any right now. Kind of like this, but it gets really long. You get some of those, but I'd say the more typical leaf shape for this one that I have at least would be like this. You know, something like this. This would be more typical, like this for the leaf shape on this. And it's very productive. The thing about this variety is it produces figs in distinct crops. Here in Arizona, usually has some brevas early on in the season, but it produces a large main crop that for me starts in June, and pretty much all of June and July. This thing is just pumping out a ton of figs. And for me, you know, August and September, I really didn't get any figs off of it. Maybe towards the end of September, it just started up again, and now I'm at the point where it's producing. You know, that second main crop is coming in pretty good at this point. I don't know if you guys can see, but I mean, there's just, on the branches, there's figs in various stages of ripening all over this. And you can see they're just all over. You know, there's just figs starting to ripen on this now. And so it's very productive, but it does produce, it's clearly in distinct crops for me here in my long season area here. So the fruit, you know, I find with this tree that the fruit is kind of a little bit hit or miss, and when the fruit is, you know, ripens well and you get a good one, like I believe this one is here. I mean, the fruit is just outstanding. It's probably certainly among my favorite figs I've ever had, and probably just about my favorite fig I've ever tasted. When you get one that's really spot on and ripens real nice, like this one here looks like it should be real good. Let me open it up. Yeah, this one's nice inside, nice and juicy. Let's see if you guys can see this. You see what that looks like? I mean, it's really just jammy. Some of them are like kind of like blood red. This one's more like, not quite blood red, but it's got its own color thing going on. It's always like a dark shade variety of red in the center there. This one's nice and jammy. And the sweetness is just excellent on these figs, and the flavor too. Excellent, outstanding. Really, I mean, like when these figs are ripe, they're just outstanding. And there's, you know, a ton of them. You know, when the crop starts to come in, you just get a ton at a time. Now, the negative that I've found with this tree, the downside that I've experienced, is that many of these fruit, they ripen up on the dry side with kind of like a tough skin. I'll give you, this is a little tiny one. It dried up, but you'll see if I open it up here, you can see just how dry and little it is for a little one. If I open it up, you can see inside it's just, here half it broke off, but here you can see inside it's just totally dried out inside. It's dry, it's tough, and for me, you know, I live in a very hot, dry climate. Maybe this isn't an issue in other parts of the country, but I found that a lot of these fruit tend to, when the weather is really hot and really dry, the fruit tends to be dry and tough. When the weather's a little bit more mild, or we're getting rains, or I'm really generous and just take the hose and just give this guy a lot of extra water, then the fruit is just amazing. It's really excellent and productive and beautiful tree. If you have this, especially if you live somewhere where it's more of a dry climate, this guy, I mean, it's almost like you can't give it too much water. It's just always thirsty for water, and it really needs, you know, a little bit extra water. if you're in a dry, hot area. I've found has been my experience. But it's a great tree. It's beautiful. It's productive, and when the figs are coming out right, it's really hard to beat it. So Violette de Bordeaux.